Welcome to my channel. So today's episode or discussion, welcome, thank you for joining me, has to do with being prepared for losses in the food chain and how to account for losses in the food chain. And there's a statement that I was told a long time ago that is relevant to this situation. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Okay. So when stuff goes wrong and you have no prepared idea on how to adjust for what went wrong, you have no plan. That means you didn't think of anything prior to the incident. So prior planning prevents piss poor performance. 6 P's. Okay? So today we're going to discuss how to minimize the negative effects of a disaster, natural or otherwise, and how to mitigate those effects and prosper through it. And really, simply, easily, plant food. I am not sponsored by this company. I just bought their product. This company started out, just like every other company, as an idea. It didn't just magically form into a company that sells tomatoes and packaging and has labels and stuff. I mean, this is a huge amount of endeavor to get this product to me through a store, a grocery store. This is massive. This is a lot of planning. I am not sponsored by any of these products. I'm not sponsored in this video. This is my video. It's just information based. And this is all backwards as far as you're concerned, but this is Glory Seed Natural Sweet. I don't know anything about their company. I just know that I bought their product. Here. Let's get a good view on that, okay? See that? That's all they're advertising. That's how much net weight they're selling to me. They're telling me something about their product right there, okay? That's their packaging and their marketing. On the back of it, tells me something about their company, and gives a code for scanning, barcode for scanning and stuff. And this is a huge plastic problem. This packaging for me, is a terrible nightmare because I don't want to deal with the packaging. But I'm helping a friend of mine resecure his food supply, and I don't have these growing right now. I have them everywhere, but I don't have them growing where I can go pick them. So these are cherry tomatoes. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be taking these tomatoes and I'll be eating them, and then I'll be selecting the seeds out and giving them the seeds to my friend to grow. And this is a very simple thing to do before a problem happens. This is prior to the problem. This is before the problem happens. This is thinking. This is planning. This is strategizing. One of the things about permaculture that we deal with is prior planning. We design things. Well, my friend is starving. He's not designed anything. He didn't design his life. He didn't design how he's going to live. He didn't design where he's going to get his food. He just went and got a job. And that job's not paying him enough money to actually feed him and house him at the same time. So here we go. Food, highly critical. Okay? This is one product, but there's a lifetime's worth of food in here. 100 years worth of food or more if every seed is viable and you just keep the plants growing and growing and growing. I mean, there's an endless supply of food if we really take care of it well. Then we have red potatoes. Again, I'm not being sponsored by this company. I'm just showing you what I was able to get from the store. Just Sunny Select, red potatoes, produced in America. It's got some bag weight. They got some nutritional information on the back, right? Huge endeavor. Massive amount of planning. 2 items, 2 different companies, huge amount of planning between the 2 companies to produce products. And they have to sell them to make a profit. And I get it. That's fine. Sweet potatoes, yams, and a bunch of seeds. And this is a company that I purchased from. This is Johnny Seed, and they sell a variety of edible foods and flowers and things. This is not expensive. This is very, very cost effective for this much seed. That's just dill. But that's a lifetime supply of dill for me. If I plant every seed and I get the seeds back from the dill, which is thousands of seeds per plant, and there's thousands of seeds in there, it's like starting a farm. And that doesn't include the fennel, the daikon radish. It doesn't include the melons. It doesn't include all the onions and things that I bought in that package. And I bought that whole package for something like $200. This is like $6 or $7. Again, $4 or $5. $4 or $5. $4 or $5. Under $300, and I have a lifetime supply of food if it grows. This is prior planning, preventing piss poor performance. Now we just need to determine where, when, with whom are we working with. We need to determine the other things that make all this stuff turn back into a product that we can keep eating and reduce our dependency on foreign aid or out-of-state aid or government aid. We need our communities to work better together. This is part of the strategy of making the communities work better together, is growing the food where you live. No, I'm not saying that you're going to get every morsel of food, and this has nothing to do with animals right now. It doesn't have to do with animal protein or fats or, any of those things. This is a minor amount of food that I'm talking about growing, but to keep one family going while they figure out their economic situation. It also helps me get an established nursery, so that way when I purchase land, I have something that I can transport to the land for free, and I can grow my own food for free. So it doesn't cost me more money to produce more food. That's prior planning. Okay. This system can be done once a year. It can be done once a month. It can be done once a week. It can be done every day. If you have the money and the resources to figure this out, it doesn't become that hard. It actually gets simpler over time because you're just repeating processes. You're repeating putting potatoes in the ground. You're repeating putting garlic and onions and tubers in the ground. You're repeating putting in seed in the ground. You're just doing a repetitious cycle. And it doesn't take that long. Put the seeds and the fruits and the vegetables in the ground. Go have a day job. Go do other things. Let the vegetables and fruits take care of themselves. Come back, water them a little bit, trim them up a little bit of maintenance. Make sure they don't die, Basically just make sure they don't die. The rest is on them. 99% of the work of the plants is theirs. You do 1% of the work. You just give them the location, the water, and the controls from predation. That's it. It's like 1% of the work. They do 99% of the work, and they give back to you. You already purchased the food. Use it. Use it appropriately. If you have children, that great training lesson for children, a great training lesson for adults, and a great thing for the elderly to do to help their community, to be engaged. Growing gardens helps people's mental state of mind, their physical bodies. It helps. They get fresh food. They get vitality. Gardens are really good for us. And I encourage people more and more to grow gardens. That does not mean you have to grow these materials in your garden. You grow what's appropriate for your climate. Again, prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I'm not going to grow potatoes in a swamp. It's not going to work. But if I was in a swamp and I wanted potatoes, I would put in chinampas, where I'd mound up dirt consecutively to where I could get the potatoes to grow. I'm not going to do potatoes in the Arctic, right? It's not going to work. So if I have to do it in the Arctic, I have to go build a hoop house. I have to build a greenhouse. I have to build infrastructure and do all these prior planning things to get potatoes to go in a climate they're not designed for. If I'm in the right climate, the Andes, with the potatoes, all I have to do is throw them on the ground and poof, we get potatoes. Because that's where they come from. It's great. It's awesome. But, dill comes from a different location and fennel comes from a different location, different climates. So we have to moderate everything that we do to our climate and select the fruits and vegetables that will work in our climate. In Arizona, it's really going to be difficult to keep strawberries. But it'll be really easy to keep cactuses. So cactuses would work really well in Arizona, so you'd select prickly pear or something you can eat. You can take the sustenance from, okay? In tropical climates, like the Amazon forest, you're going to go with perennial trees that can survive and flower or produce fruit, because not all, like apples, you can't transport apples to the Amazon and hope and pray they work. It doesn't. They don't get a frost cycle. They don't get cold enough there. There's no frost stratification. They can't drop all their leaves and be deciduous because it doesn't get cold. It doesn't get cold enough for that. So apples will never work in the Amazon unless you build a hoop house and cause conditions that are not like the Amazon, like freezing conditions, to get the apple to fruit. And then on top of that, the day length changes may not allow apples to produce fruit because they may never flower properly. So there's other reasons for this to not work. So you got to maintain your climate. The vegetables to your climate have to be accurate. Out of climate, vegetables and fruits don't work. They may grow, but they may not produce anything. For instance, I'm in Monterey, California, specifically Pacific Grove. We can grow guava trees so easy. They grow, never produce fruit. It's just not hot enough. They never get a heat cycle to get a guava. I wanted guavas so bad. I wanted to plant them and fruit them. And man, I bought guava after guava after guava trying to figure it out. And then I realized I'm out of zone. I don't have a hot house. It doesn't get hot enough. The day length time frame for that to work isn't correct. I have to expend huge amounts of energy and money to get guavas to work out of zone. It doesn't work in Pacific Grove, California. It's too cold. Day length is wrong. There's other problems. Whereas lettuce grows great. We have a Mediterranean climate. You can grow lettuce. You can grow 4 crops of lettuce a year in Pacific Grove because there's plenty of moisture, plenty of cool light, there's plenty of drought. It's moderate temperatures. We don't really hit freezing much. Not a problem. Here, apples grow really well. Yeah, it's a little bit south of their climate range. Monterey, California is a little bit south of the climate range that apples want to be in, but they do fruit. And they give good fruit here in Monterey, California. Plums do great here because plums love desert-like conditions. And we get desert-like conditions. We only get about 21 inches of rain on average per year. And a lot of times we get less than that. And they love having drought. They are a drought-hardy species. Most of the stone fruit are. So, climate conditions. Planning where your fruit goes is very critical. For instance, in Pacific Grove, it's really hard to grow tomatoes because they really like that extra light and that extra heat. but they will grow if you give them the right conditions. But they're very difficult to grow here. We also have a huge amount of herbivore predation upon them, which is fine. But I particularly like to grow things like garlic, onions, potatoes, tuber-like materials for myself. One, they're not visible to the average browser. Two, if they did get browsed off, they'll just come back. Not a big deal. Three, if they get a gopher or something that eats through them, that's easily correctable with hardware cloth and wire. It's not that difficult. But it's all about prior planning for disasters. And the easiest way to plan for it is to do something about it. Take action. If you have a water issue, design your water into the system. Do a roof catchment, to a cistern, to a water filter, to your garden. Go with it. Not a big deal. It costs a little money up front. I'm going to estimate in 2024, 2025 prices, I'm going to estimate that putting in gutters, a cistern, gutters, downspout, a cistern, a filter system, and a way to water your garden is going to be between, depending on the size of the cistern and the system, it's going to be between $3,000 and $5,000 to do. That seems like a lot of money, but it's really not. Not in America. And if we have a disaster, a natural disaster, or an earthquake or a fire or something that cuts off our fuel supply or water supply or our transport for food here, then we're going to need that extra water to grow our crops to keep going. So that way we're not begging the government for assistance, or we need helicopters to come in and save us. Ridiculous. That's the thinking process. If you have comments on this, put them down below. If you like this video, thumbs up. If you really, really like this video, subscribe. And if you really, really, really like this video, you make a video, share it with me. I want to see what you're doing. Permaculture is all about saving the planet, saving the people of the planet, getting everybody to cooperate. I want to see what your cooperation is. If you have an idea, something better, if you want to share your thoughts, your insights on how to reduce disaster problems, share it with your friends, share it with me, share it with whoever. Make a video, it's free. Have a great day.